Welcome to the Renaissance Zone. I have the pleasure of being in South Baltimore, Cherry Hill again, with my good friend and colleague, Renee Burris. We have a history. She came through a training I was doing, and she was a superstar there. And she's just a sister that really loves her kids, loves her family. And she's the quintessential example of a person that's taken a mess and made a message out of it. So this girl's one of the most resilient people I've ever seen, this young lady, and just a great mom and a great person. And I just want to share a little bit. She is the first person to appear in the Renaissance Zone. Of course, this is the Renaissance Zone, Loving the Trenches, where we go into neighborhoods and talk to people, real, live, loving, great, beautiful people that God has in places that other people won't go. And we give them a voice for them to share their story. It's all about love in the trenches. I think Renee's story is going to be really impressive for us here in the Renaissance Zone because of the value and the power that she has of her story, of what she's been through and how she's redeemed that. Welcome to the Renaissance Zone.
Happy to be here.
So tell us a little about yourself.
Well,
Where you from?
I'm from East Baltimore. I grew up down Chapel Hill. And we moved up Highland Town, so I'm a down the hill girl.
Right.
East Baltimore. I love East Baltimore, born and raised. I moved out Cherry Hill probably like almost 11 years ago, come this August. It's been an experience. I remember when they first told me I had to pick, they gave me Brooklyn, Cherry Hill, and Westport. And so Cherry Hill was the best one, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But I cried because I didn't want to come over here because all the stories you heard from, how Cherry Hill used to be. But I moved out here and it wasn't nothing like that. I had some really good neighbors. Actually, my neighbor had a key to my house. They watch out for my kids. I have left my door open or left stuff outside. Nothing never got taken. We look out for each other out here. Even though we're in the projects, I guess this Cherry Hill was the best project to be in.
What would you what are some things that, in terms of your son, because that's a beautiful thing, man. People don't realize there's community in the project.
Right.
What are some things that you have to really keep on the lookout for your sons in terms of, how old are your sons?
I have a son that's 14. He'll be 15 in June. And I have a son that's 12. He'll be 13 in November.
Okay. So what are some things in being down here that you've had to really look out for?
Well, I just have to make sure that they don't get involved with the wrong crowd. I'm an old school mom. I'm young, but I have old school tendencies. I'm real strict. When street lights come on, they better be in front of this door. Of course, there's drugs and there's shooting everywhere. It's even in the best neighborhoods, they just hide it. So you have to make sure you talk to your kids, you teaching your kids, you telling your kids what's out there, keep your kids active. Like my kids on the mime ministry, on the choir, and the dance group. They, do sports, they in everything. So I kind of keep my kids busy. My kids are brought up in church, of course, because I'm real spiritual with my walk with Christ. So I just keep my kids busy, and I'm not, I don't sugarcoat anything with my sons. I let them know what's out there and where I've been and what's out in the street. I don't hide anything from them. I let them know, the streets don't love you. You don't owe the streets anything. You can be different. You don't have to be with the crowd because the crowd will get you killed. The crowd will take your life. The crowd don't love you. I love you. I want the best for you. You go to school, you get your education, and you make something of yourself. You don't be another statistic like me. You don't, have to have a child at a young age. You don't have to need public assistance to live or live in the projects. You can change our generational curse and be something different and have your own business. Be an entrepreneur. Be the next president. Be the next Barack Obama. Okay. That's what I tell my sons.
Okay. That's good stuff.
So
that was good preaching too, huh?
You came from the heart. That's how I feel.
So Renee, what I know about you, you grew up in the projects yourself. What are some things that you felt like as a woman that you had to watch out for growing up in the projects?
Well, as growing up in the hood as a child, I kind of I was off the hook as a child, to be honest. So back then, before I got pregnant with my son at 17, I wanted to be the next toughest person. I want to be known as the toughest girl in the project. I had a lot of mouth. I was little. I had a little person complex. I had a chip on my shoulder. I was always fighting. I was always locked up. So I wasn't really a girly girl. I was like a tomboy. So I loved the projects. I still do because the projects made me who I am. I would not be me if it wasn't for the projects. If I didn't know what was out there, I wouldn't strive for what I strive for now. So I just think that, you know, the project just like played a major part in my life, and I think like for me, it wasn't bad. It was fun. Like we played in the fire hydrant. The older people looked out for us. We got frozen cups. Like you heard of some stuff going on here and there, but I don't think stuff was bad as it is now in the projects when I was growing up, or you know, we was growing up in the hood. It wasn't like it is now, so it was a little different. So for me, it's a total different experience than these kids that's coming up now.
So, let's say you meet a younger mom, and she's a single mom. You've been taking care of your 3 children because you have a daughter too. How old is she?
She's 7.
What would you say to a mom who had to do it by herself and was living in the projects? What advice would you give to her?
I would tell her, I had my son at 17, and I had dropped out of school. And I decided then that I can't tell my son to go to school and get an education if I dropped out. So I wanted better for my kids than what I had for myself. I didn't know about college. I didn't know about a good credit score. I didn't know the importance of not messing up your credit and stuff back then. So I would tell her, like, I would tell her all of that. I would tell her that she can do it. You know, I've been homeless. I've been in the YWCA shelter 2 different times. I lived in 50-something different houses before my son was 2. You know, so it was a blessing that God provided the project for me, and that the government was able to help me and my son. So I would tell her that she can do it. No matter how many times you fall, you're going to get back up every single time. I don't care if you fall 100 times. I have fell probably more than 100 times. You know, but I always get back up because I'm a fighter. I'm not willing to let nothing beat me, because it don't just depend on my future. It depends on my kids' future. My fight that I have is not just for me. It's for, I live for them. Everything that I do for my kids. Every job that I work for my kids. Everything that I'm doing to make myself better, I do for my children, my grandchildren, and my grandchildren, children. So I want to set. So when my kids look back at the history of me, they gonna say they had their grandmother, or their great grandmother, or their great great grandmother was a fighter. She set the stage for us. So that's what I want.
That's real. People might think that everybody in the project don't work. How many jobs you work?
I done had so many jobs. I've been working since I had my son. I got my first job while I was pregnant with my son at McDonald's. I have a lot of certification. I have a certification in early childhood education. I had my 90 hours, my 48 hours of infant and toddler. I have EKG, phlebotomy, engine. They say that I'm currently working at University of Maryland in the NICU. I love working with people. I'm in school. I'm taking 2 classes, English and math. I've been going to school for the last couple of years. Couple of hurdles, so sometimes I had to stop because some stuff had happened. So I'm back in school. Didn't get to go to school in the fall, but I went last spring. I want to be an AB student, but I get some C's. So.
But you're managing 3 kids.
But I'm managing 3 kids and all their activities, and I love going to school though, because it's like me time. You know, to get away from everything, get away from the kids. I'm not doing nothing for nobody else. This for the better me to get, you know, so I can be proud of myself and say, look, I did this. No matter how long it took, and it's gonna take a while because I'm only taking 2 classes. So right now I'm taking a math class, and it's a pre-rep math class, so I'm not on math. I'm not on college level in math, and that's fine because I don't get math. So I'm taking an English class, and that's college level. So it's moving along, and eventually I'll have my BA, my master's, and my doctoral.
So watch this. Moving along.
Yeah.
Right? The key is just moving.
Yeah. No matter how long it takes, you can take steps like you an ant. You can take steps like, you can just take steps like you're a slug. As long as you're taking some type of initiative to get to where you say you want to be, that's all that matters, no matter how long it takes. And you can't let other people, and what I had to learn, because I beat myself up a lot, like, this is where I should be. Mr. Robinson, though, I talk to him all the time, like, I should be this place, I'm not doing this, like, I live in the projects, like, I should have a degree, you know, just feel having a pity party. And I have to remind myself, like, that's a smack in Christ's face. If he came down here and did all he did, and he was without sin, who are you to sit there and complain when he brought you from the gutter? And even though you're in a project, and some people may say this the gutter, but for me, this not the gutter. My house don't look like no project house. We don't live like we live in a project. We keep our neighborhood clean around here. We don't have all that confusion and all that stuff going on around, because we will call the police real quick. So this is home for us. Like, and my house don't look like no project house. I keep it clean. My kids got good clothes. They got just as much as a person that got 2 moms and a dad in the household. So my kids lack nothing. Now they may lack, you know, having a dad in a home or something, you know, and kids always gonna need their father. But I can give my kids just as much love as two parents. And I give them that all the time. And I think my kids are very blessed. I think I'm blessed because, you know, despite, you know, my upbringing and stuff like that, my mother was a good mom and she was a single mom. And my mother raised 7 of us by herself. Now, she made mistakes just like I make mistakes. But she stuck in there with us. She didn't leave us. She could have walked away like some people mothers. Her mom walked away and just left them. So to see my mom is strong, and to know that she made some mistakes, you gotta forgive your mom, because I'm gonna want my kids to forgive me for some of the stuff that I've done, because I haven't done everything perfectly. I say stuff and do stuff sometimes that mom shouldn't do, and I realize that, and I just think that, you know, you just gotta keep pushing. Like, you just gotta stay strong. You just got, and whoever you know, your faith is, whatever your faith is, like, that's what you gotta tap into, because I'm telling you, that's what keep me going. If it wasn't for Christ, I swear I would have lost my mind a long time ago. I probably would have took my own life, you know, because I suffer sometimes from depression. But I always have to remember, like, God's not going to put no more than you can bear. Like, he got you. I know he got me. I know he got my 3 kids. I know that I could have been dead a million times. The enemy was trying to take my life. The enemy want to take my kids' life. But I declare and decree that he can't take me or my kids' life.
Declare and decree.
Yeah.
So look, I smile and I laugh because I know your story. I know you're a real live soldier. I know you live what you talk about. And I know how hard you really work to make sure that your children have a home. Not just a house, but a home. So with that, I thank you so much, right? For coming to the Renaissance Zone, man. We out here. It's Cherry Hill. We're going to keep moving. The documentary is coming. This is the year of our women in the Renaissance Zone. But we also going to do, so it's always Love in the Trenches. We're also going to do our documentary. I want to thank DMD, my cousin, and all the people who support us and what we do. Keep watching. Subscribe below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Renaissance Zone. And also leave your comments.